Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to the Dr. Alan W. Sugarman Sports Complex in Fort Lee, New Jersey, the setting for our 2022 baseball opener, as it will be a big North American Division showdown between the visiting Dwight Morrow Maroon Raiders and your Fort Lee Bridgemen. Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Long, joined alongside by my producer, Dimitri Nanis, and our camera operators, Maria Giannatasio and Lola Nanis. We're so glad that you could join us here as we kick off a brand new spring season of baseball. It's going to be starting a little later than usual, as it was a late arrival to the field by Dwight Morrow. But this will allow us to familiarize ourselves with the starting lineups as we're about to get underway. Leading off for Dwight Morrow and playing third base is going to be Christian Ramos. Hitting second and playing left field is Raylan Uceda. Hitting third and doing the catching is Christopher Marte. Hitting fourth and doing the pitching today will be Luis De Leon. Hitting fifth and playing first base is Saul Garcia. Hitting sixth and being the DH is Luexander Polanco. Hitting seventh and playing second base, Giuseppe Aldama. Hitting eighth and playing in right field, Manuel Merchant. And hitting ninth and playing at shortstop is Julian Suero. As Dwight Morrow will have to contend with the pitcher here today for Fort Lee, number 23, Franco Rosario. Rosario, a junior, getting the opening day start, as he will have his defense behind him. Louis Nakajima in left, Marcus Lee in center field, and Ray Nakajima in right. Joseph Rosa at third base, Felix Herrera at short. At second base will be Emmanuel Perez, and at first base will be Ryan Irizarry. And doing the catching this afternoon is Keizo Katayama. Fort Lee in their home white uniforms, and Dwight Morrow in their all-maroon road uniforms. So we are about to get underway. Thanks for joining us here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. So leading off is going to be number 15, Christian Ramos. Ramos is a junior, scored 4 runs and drew 4 walks in their season-opening win against Ridgeville High School. Dwight Morrow 1-0 already on the season. They defeated Ridgeville 14-4 on April 1st. So this is how we're going to get underway. Again, it's Rosario about to deliver the first pitch. And that pitch is going to be low for a ball. 1-0. Two head coaches. Mario Lugones Jr., the head man for Dwight Morrow. As that one is hit into the backstop for a foul ball. 1-1 the count. And the head coach for Fort Lee is Peter Kraljic. Season opener for the Bridgemen, as these two sides will play one another in the first two games of this week. The 1-1 curveball, missing to the outside, 2-1. Fort Lee playing host here today, and then they will travel to Englewood to take on the Maroon Raiders in a following game on Wednesday, April 6th. 2-1. That one is hit into the backstop again, and it's foul, so it's now 2-2. First batter of the game. Ramos, the third baseman, leading things off here for Dwight Morrow, top of the first inning. 2-2. Again, hit into the backstop to remain at 2-2. .53 degrees at first pitch here this afternoon. 2-2. And again, for the fourth time in this at-bat, Ramos wasting off a pitch into the backstop with a cage that protects over the back of home plate. So once again, it will remain 2-2. Long at-bat here for Ramos to lead off the game. And he goes down eventually with the strikeout. And there's one away to begin this top of the first inning. First strikeout of the game for Rosario. One away with nobody on base. That'll bring up number one, Raylan Uceta. Uceta playing left field, the freshman. Had one hit in the season opener, went 1 for 2, drove in an RBI against Ridgefield. He's also hitting from the right side. That one's fouled backwards. 0-1 the count. So after that long duel between Ramos and Rosario, Rosario eventually won that battle with the high strikeout. His first K of the afternoon. The right-hander sets and fires. In for a strike, it's now 0-2 the count against Raylan Uceta. Franco Rosario, a junior right-hander. The 0-2 from Rosario. Curveball knocked down to third. Underneath it is Rosa. Throws over in time for the 5-3 putout. And now there's two away. So Rosario retires the first two hitters that he's faced to begin today's game. And that'll bring up Christopher Marte, the catcher, hitting here with no one on base and two away in a scoreless first inning. Marte, a senior, went 2 for 3 with a home run, a double, and drove in 4 in their lopsided win against Ridgefield. Rosario missing in tight there with the ball, 1-0. So a strikeout and a ground ball to third. And counting for the first two hitters of the day here for Dwight Morrow, ducking underneath that curveball that broke a little too high and too late. Now it's a 2-0 count against Marte. Luis De Leon waiting on deck. He's also serving as the pitcher here this afternoon for Dwight Morrow. The 2-0. That'll break in for a strike. Make that 2-1 count. Rosario trying to retire the order. 1, 2, 3, but he'll miss on the outside. Now the count runs to 3-1. Marte producing the 4 RBIs, a home run, and a double. All ready to begin the season. What a start in your season opener. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. That's grounded, foul to the right side. And the count has run full now at 3-2. Marte will do the catching this afternoon for Dwight Morrow, 1-0 on the season. Rosario taking his time. Sets and fires. That is a hot shot, foul down the third baseline. Nearly hitting into his third base coach. Fort Lee lost both meetings against Dwight Morrow a season ago, including a 6-5 game here at home. Rosario will miss on the outside. I thought that would have been ball 4, but I must have been corrected, and instead it's now run full at 3-2. So Marte with no one on base, scoreless here in the top of the first inning. We'll foul that into the cage. Rosario has already 1 strikeout on the day. But a lot of pitches already thrown here by the starting pitcher here for Fort Lee. As I mentioned, Dwight Morrow won both meetings, 7-3 in Englewood a season ago, and also won the return trip here to Fort Lee, 6-5. Chopping on overneath that one, that's going to dribble its way foul down the third baseline. Fort Lee a season ago went 5-15 overall, going 3-6 here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Finished 3rd in the Big North American Division. Cliffside Park, the league champs. And this long at-bat continues with another foul ball into the cage. The last win for Fort Lee in this matchup against one of their rivals in Dwight Morrow came on April 9, 2018, so it's been quite some time. That was a 6-3 win here at home. As Marte will step out. That one is rocketed down the right field line. That's going to be a base hit. And a double sliding in there for Marte. So it's going to be a 2-out double for Christopher Marte, who continues a red-hot start to this season, already picking up another hit in this game number 2. Marte 3 for 4 on the season now. That is his second double. He has a home run, so all 3 of his hits so far in 2022 have been extra bases. So after Louis Nakajima got back in, it's going to be a runner in scoring position. Looks like a courtesy runner into the game for Dwight Morrow, as Marte, the catcher, will be able to get going with his equipment change. Pickoff move behind the runner, but nothing going. That throw is going to be inside for a ball, 1-0. Correction, they called it a strike. Against Luis De Leon, the pitcher, hitting in the cleanup spot. Two-out base runner at second. Floated pitch. Missing that time, 1-1. Rosario trying to hunker down here and strand the runner down at second base on a two-out double by Marte. That one is sent flaring down the other side, opposite way, and out of play, foul down the right field line. One and two the count now against De Leon. Trying to help his own cause out here. Again, he's going to send that one to right field, and it's going to hit over the course of the wall. That's going to bring in a run. So now all this work being done by Dwight Morrow with two outs. Back-to-back doubles this time by Luis De Leon, as he has staked his team out to a 1-0 lead, all with two outs and nobody on. Back-to-back doubles given up by Rosario. Dwight Morrow has taken a 1-0 lead over Fort Lee. So Dwight Morrow sending him to the left field side, and now this time deep to right field. As that hit off the wall or extra bases. That'll bring up Saul Garcia, the first baseman, number 23. Garcia went 2 for 4 against Ridgefield back on April 1st. As Rosario missing. This one hit on a line drive right into the glove of the shortstop Herrera, and that will end the inning. So with 2 outs and nobody on base, back-to-back doubles produced by Marte and De Leon, and that'll send us to the bottom of the first inning here in Fort Lee. Dwight Morrow jumping out to a 1-0 lead as you're watching coverage of the 2022 season opener for Fort Lee baseball here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Now, as we head to the bottom of the first inning, let's meet the starting lineup here today for Fort Lee. Leading off and playing center field is going to be number 8, Marcus Lee. Hitting second and doing the catching is number 17, Keizo Katayama. Hitting third and playing third is number 14, Joseph Rosa. Hitting fourth and doing the pitching is going to be number 23, Franco Rosario. Hitting fifth and playing first base, number 13, Ryan Irizarry. Hitting sixth and playing in the right field, number 27, Ray Nakajima. Hitting seventh and doing the work at shortstop is Felix Herrera. Hitting eighth and playing second base is Emmanuel Perez. And hitting ninth here today for the Bridgemen and playing left field is Louis Nakajima. As they will be going against the 6'2 sophomore, Luis De Leon. De Leon already helped his cause out with a 2-out double that drove in the first run of the game. Back-to-back doubles accounting for the 1-0 lead for Dwight Morrow. So here's Marcus Lee leading things off for the Bridgemen. Their first at-bat of the season. Pitch is low in the dirt, 1-0. Lee hitting from the right side. That pitch missing to the outside, now 2-0. De Leon's 2-0. That's a strike of the inside, now 2-1. So Lee, Katayama, and Rosa due up here for Fort Lee in their first plate appearances of the 2022 season. There's another strike from De Leon, so he battles back to even the count now at 2-2. Now time is called, granted to Lee. As coming out from behind home plate is Marte. He wants to talk things over with De Leon. The defense for Dwight Morrow behind De Leon. Uceta in left, King in center, and Merchan in right. Ramos at third, Suero at short, Aldama at second, Garcia at first, and Marte doing the catching. De Leon's pitch, just getting a piece of it, was Lee to stay alive in the at-bat. We're in the bottom of the first inning. This game started a little later because of the late arrival of Dwight Morrow. And there's strike three looking. First batter retired via the K. There for De Leon, his first strikeout of the afternoon, and the leadoff hitter is retired to begin the bottom of the first inning. That'll bring up Kizo Katayama. Katayama, number 17, is the catcher. A junior who saw plenty of time as a sophomore last year on varsity. As that pitch misses outside. One away here with nobody on base in the bottom of the first inning. 1-0 lead for Dwight Morrow. As that'll be a strike for De Leon. He battled back to eventually retire Marcus Lee, who went down looking. As that's a pitch missing inside against Katayama. Katayama trying to become the first base runner. As that is going to be the case after that misses to the outside, and that's ball 4. So Katayama draws a 1-out walk here in the bottom of the first inning. First base runner of the day for the Bridgemen. That brings up Joseph Rosa. Rosa, the third baseman, number 14. He'll be hitting from the right side. Now with a 1-out base runner, courtesy of the walk. Surrendered by De Leon. Pitch missed high for a ball, 1-0. Rosa, a senior. Now with a runner in front of him down at first. That one's bounced low. Marte throwing behind the runner at first base. Nearly got Katayama leaning the wrong way. Just dove back to the first base bag in time. Marte showing off the strong arm behind the plate. That one's ricocheted into the cage behind home plate. For the foul ball by Rosa. That one is flied. Making the play is going to be the right fielder, Merchan. So a fly ball that curved its way. Kind of to right center field, handled by the right fielder. So Merchan makes the play, second out of the inning. There's a runner still down at first, now with 2 away. That'll bring up Franco Rosario. Rosario the pitcher for Fort Lee. We saw De Leon account for the RBI double that got his team the lead to begin this first inning. We'll see if Rosario can answer with a drive of his own. The 0-1. There's a strike. As De Leon trying to secure that final out of this bottom of the first inning. He has 1 strikeout, 1 walk, and just procured a pop-up to right field. That one is sawed off, grounded down to short. Handling it is Suero, and overthrows his first baseman. That's going to be a throwing error that keeps this inning alive. Now another throwing error, and that's going to allow Fort Lee to score their first run of the season. A couple of miscues there by the Dwight Morrow defense. It was a ground ball to the shortstop. Suero had enough time to throw over to end the inning. Instead, his throw to first base went wide. And then, while trying to recover it, FDU had their runner and Katayama make a wide turn around third base. And then a throw to try to gun him down from behind actually went wide of the mark and allowed Katayama to score. So a couple of errors leads to that unearned run. First started off as the E6. Irizarry takes the first pitch for a strike. 0-1. Ryan Irizarry, a senior. The first baseman. He will get that ground ball into right field for a base hit. That is the first official base hit of the season for Fort Lee. On a single to right field, despite the diving exploits of Aldama, the second baseman. Could not get to it in time, and now Fort Lee has already produced 1 run here in the bottom of the first inning. They're looking for more. Runners at first and second, all with 2 outs. So we've seen that from both sides. After Rosario was able to produce the first 2 outs on the mound for Fort Lee, it was 2 consecutive doubles that accounted for the run in the top of the inning for Dwight Morrow. And a healthy cut there by Ray Nakajima. He came up empty. 0-1 the count. As that misses down low to the outside. Rosario standing down at second base. He'd be the go-ahead run. There's a strike. Inside. Irizarry just had the base hit to right field for the first hit of the inning for Fort Lee. Katayama got on with a one-out walk. He came around to score on 2 throwing errors on what should have been the third and final out of the inning. Now Fort Lee really trying to make Dwight Morrow pay for their miscues in the field. As that's going to be a fly ball. Calling for it, Aldama, the second baseman, and he will put it away. But both teams now scoring 1 run apiece in that first inning. Unearned run for Fort Lee, courtesy of Katayama scoring on the 2 throwing errors. We head to the top of the second inning here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. All knotted up at 1-1 here in the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. We head now to the top of the second inning. Here in Fort Lee, 1-1 the score between Dwight Morrow and Fort Lee. So glad that you could join us here for the 2022 baseball home opener for the Bridgemen as they take on league rival Dwight Morrow. It's going to be the first of back-to-back games, as is the case for a lot of scheduling around northern New Jersey in the Big North Conference. It's going to be a lot of home and away games between the same exact opponents in back-to-back games to get through the schedule. So it's going to be a road game for Fort Lee the next time out at Dwight Morrow on Wednesday afternoon. Two-out runs for both teams in that first inning. Alexander Polanco now due up here for Dwight Morrow, the designated hitter, number 28. Polanco went 2 for 4 with a double and an RBI against Ridgefield. First ball swinging deep into the hole, backhanded by the shortstop, over in time, but off the bag came the first baseman, Irizarry, from the throw by Herrera. Legging out that opportunity was Polanco. That was going to be a tough play with the backhand variety by the shortstop Herrera. Polanco hustling down the line all the way. He'll be credited with the hit. Third hit of the game now for Dwight Morrow, and they have the leadoff hitter on safely to begin the top of the second inning. That'll bring up Giuseppe Aldama. Aldama, the second baseman. Takes a strike in the outside, 0-1. Aldama Jr. hitting 1 for 3 on the season with a run scored and a walk drawn. He's the one who picked up the win pitching-wise against Ridgefield. As that hits the outside corner for a strike. To the light of the Fort Lee bench lined up down the third base side. Fort Lee in their home white uniforms. Curveball missing high. So Polanco down at first, leading off this inning with a hit into deep in the hole. At short, Herrera was trying to make a dazzling defensive play, but he pulled his first baseman off the base. Here's a ground ball, hot shot, into the outfield for a base hit just outside the grasp of Rosa, the third baseman. So back-to-back hits now for Dwight Morrow to begin the top of the second inning after that base hit to left by Aldama. 4 hits now in the game for Dwight Morrow, as that'll bring up Manuel Merchan, number 29, the right fielder. Merchan hitting from the left side. 2 runners on, nobody out here in the top of the second in a 1-1 tie. Rosario will have to field it himself on the sacrifice bunts, throwing over in time to make the play. Looked like it was Perez, the second baseman, who had to cover the first base bag as Irizarry, the first baseman, was playing in for the bunt. So the runners are moved into scoring positions, second and third, with 1 away. 1-4, the official ground out on the sacrifice bunt. That brings up Julian Suero, the shortstop. Suero ducking, but that actually fell into the strike zone for a strike. 0-1. Suero was 1 for 2, drew 2 walks, scored twice in the win on April 1st against Ridgefield. Curveball, knocked. Getting a piece of it was the shortstop, over in time to first base. No, it's going to be ruled safe. The throw home also getting in safely. So aggressive base running there. Once again, the shortstop was not able to make the play. Herrera for Fort Lee. The runner initially froze at third, but then when the throw was made over to first base, was not able to get to home plate in time. Looks like the play was officially credited as an out at first base, as there's now a runner down at third with 2 away. Curveball for a strike, 0-1. So that's a ground ball RBI for Julian Suero. That scored. Polanco led off the inning with an infield single. There's a swing and a miss by Christian Ramos. The leadoff hitter is 0 for 1 this afternoon. He struck out swinging back in the first inning as well. Breaking pitch, missing low to the outside. Aldama standing down at third. Dwight Morrow has scored 2 runs, 1 in the first and 1 here in the top of the second, to take a 2-1 advantage over Fort Lee. That one's going to be a pop-up. Luis Nakajima calling for it, and the left fielder will make the third and final out of the inning. But Dwight Morrow pushes home another run to retake the lead, this time at 2-1 on the ground ball out by Julian Suero, driving in Polanco with the second run of the day for the Maroon Raiders. We'll head to the bottom of the second, 2-1 lead for Dwight Morrow here in Fort Lee. Second time in this game now that De Leon will head to the mound with a one-run lead in his back pocket for Dwight Morrow. Visitors lead 2-1, as it will be the bottom of the Fort Lee lineup that he's due to face here, 7, 8, and 9 hitters to begin the bottom of the second inning. Felix Herrera, the shortstop, leading things off. Takes that wide for a ball, 1-0. Herrera pounds that into the cage, foul down the third base line. That one is skipped into the dirt. Off to the far side by De Leon. Fort Lee with one run on one hit in that first inning. Missing to the outside. The thing that led to the unearned run for Fort Lee was a pair of errors on the same play. That's a swing and a miss by Herrera. He was going for the downs. As this year there is a temporary fencing put out in the outfield beyond right and center field. Hot shot down to third. Handling that one is Ramos on a bounce for the 5-3 ground down, as Herrera is retired with the first out at the bottom of the second. That'll bring up Emmanuel Perez, number 2, the second baseman. Perez, the junior, hitting 8th in the lineup this afternoon. Strike on the outside for De Leon. Fouled into the back cage. Now quickly 0-2. And I have to say that I'm a big fan of these all-maroon uniforms. They've got a flashy look to them. And from a broadcasting point of view, very easily read white numbers in bold on the back of their jerseys. It's a sharp look for the Maroon Raiders. That pitch taken high for a ball by Perez. Now 1-2 the count. Louis Nakajima, the left fielder, waiting on deck. He's 9th in the order. On the outside, just missing. Dwight Morrow thought that they had that outside corner and had frozen Perez for a potential strikeout. Two-two. That one is hit on a bounce to the second baseman, Holdama, over to first and in time. Second consecutive ground ball out procured by De Leon. And now there's 2 away with nobody on in the bottom of the second inning. That was a softly hit ball on a bounce to the second baseman, Holdama, who had to then hurry it over in time, and he just did, to retire Perez, his fellow second baseman. So that'll bring up now Louis Nakajima, the left fielder, for his first plate appearance of the afternoon, hitting from the left side. Getting a strike on a swing there. 0-1 against Nakajima. If Louis Nakajima can continue this inning, that would bring it back to the top of the order, and Marcus Lee for the Bridgman. Missed to the outside, 1-1. A cool day here in Bergen County in early April, feeling like early April weather. It's been cool and windy and not a lot of sun forecast throughout this week. As that pitch missed outside again, 2-1. There's a strike right down Broadway. Even the count now at 2-2. The 2-2 from De Leon. Swing and a miss, and there's strike three. The second strikeout of the day for the Dwight Morrow starting pitcher. And we are through 2 innings of play. Dwight Morrow will take a 2-1 advantage with them into the top of the third inning here on YouTube. To the third inning we go. Franco Rosario beginning his third inning of work. He has allowed 2 runs in the first 2 innings of play. 2 runs on 4 hits. Has produced 1 strikeout, that being the first batter that he faced this afternoon. This is our broadcast debut of the 2022 baseball season here for Fort Lee. We're bringing you all the sights and sounds from the softball season opener a couple of days ago. Softball also playing Dwight Morrow in their season opener. They were decisive in their Mercy Rule win. So Fort Lee wasting little time getting started right away in the Big North American Divisional play. Braylon Uceta leading things off. Uceta, dribbler to short. Herrera could not get it over cleanly, as that's going to be one bounce. Irizarry, the first baseman, was kind of handcuffed on the play, could not make that clean fielding play, and Uceta is on to start off the top of the third. I believe that would be an error against the shortstop Herrera. So Braylon Uceta, the freshman, reaches base safely. That pitch misses to the outside, 1-0 against Christopher Marte. Marte with 2 outs and nobody on, lined a double down a left field side. He was eventually scored from second base on the 2-out double by Luis De Leon to right field, as he hit it up against the right field wall. Marte very dangerous, as we've already made note of his 3-for-4 start to this season with 3 extra base hits. That's thrown behind Marte. Nice catch made by Katayama. Again, this inning starting off with a throwing error by Herrera, the shortstop for Fort Lee. And that's going to be ball 4 surrendered by Rosario. So again, he is well aware of Marte's reputation, having already given up a double to Marte in this game. So it's now runners at first and second with nobody out to begin the top of the third. First walk surrendered by Rosario. That brings up Luis De Leon. De Leon is 1 for 1 with an RBI double. He's squaring around to potentially drop down the bunts. First baseman coming all the way in, bunted down that first base line. Irizarry will pick it up, but it will be in foul territory. Believe it is, as both runners are heading back to their respective bases. Dwight Morrow has shown off the ability to play a little small ball, and in a similar situation, they bunted to advance the runners from first and second down to second and third. Nobody out right now here in the top of the third. As I believe it's going to be a balk called against Rosario. So now it's runners at second and third with nobody out. No need to bunt now. You can keep the bat in the hands of De Leon. So Rosario was getting a little too anxious there, thinking about the base runners behind him, and he balked. Curveball falls in for a strike against De Leon. That one is fly to deep right field. And once again, De Leon is going to double it off the wall. 1 run will score as he will slide into second base with his second RBI double of the game. Now runners at second and third with still nobody out and a 3-1 lead for Dwight Morrow. So Luis De Leon driving exactly where he drove it last time, to deep right field, as it took 1 bounce up against the wall. De Leon a perfect 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs here this afternoon. He's standing down at second base. Still nobody out here. That's going to be flared to deep second base. Thrown over, not in time. That gets away. That's going to allow 1 run to score. De Leon taking the turn around third base. And he'll put the brakes on there, but another run comes home. That was going to be a very tough play for Perez deep in the hole at second. And when he handled it, his throw was wide of the bag, pulled Irizarry off the bag. It then bounced along the far side fencing and allowed that run to score. That run was going to score regardless of whether or not the play was made, as the runner from third easily trotted home. That one is popped up into the top of the cage. That probably would have been an infield fly if it didn't hit that last vestige of foul territory in the cage behind home plate. If I were the official scorer, I would have scored that an error on the ground ball hit by Garcia. Couple of errors in this game in this inning now, betraying Fort Lee. 2 runs home here in the inning. 4-1 the lead for Dwight Morrow. That once again is hit into the cage. Uceta began the inning reaching courtesy of an error. Marte drew the walk. De Leon with the RBI double, driving in 1 run. And then on the ground ball, error to the second baseman, Perez. That led to the second run. Runners now at second and third. Still nobody out here in the top of the third inning. Miss low to the outside. Against Alexander Polanco. Polanco had a single back in the second inning. 1 for 1 this afternoon. That pitch missed high. Rosario trying to produce a couple outs here. First 4 hitters that he has faced to begin this top of the third have reached base safely. That one's ricocheted again into the top of the cage. Two errors, a walk, and a double. Dwight Morrow trying to go to 2-0 on the season here in their first road game of the year. That one is shot into center field. That's going to fall for a base hit. That's going to drive in another run. The throw gets away, gets all the way down to Katayama. An RBI single to center field by Polanco. He's 2 for 2 today. And now the lead has grown to 5-1 for Dwight Morrow. Giuseppe Aldama, the second baseman, 1 for 1 here today. Singled his last time up in the second. Runners at the corners, nobody out. Rosario stepping off, trying to keep that runner back at first. Rosario is also balked here in this inning. That advanced the runners, both of which have already scored so far in this inning. As that pitch missing to the outside, 1-0. Missed inside. 2-0. There's a swing and a miss. Good pitch there by Rosario, going upstairs with that last delivery. Aldama was not able to catch up to it. That's hit backwards. Now there's quickly 2 strikes against Aldama. Still nobody out here in the top of the third inning for Dwight Morrow. Leading 5-1. Curveball. And there's the first out procured, a strikeout produced by Rosario. 1 away with runners still at first and third. Second strikeout of the afternoon for Rosario. That'll bring up the right fielder, Manuel Merchan. Merchan dropped down the sacrifice bunt his last time up in the second inning, so Merchan hitting from the left side. Runners at the corners, 1 away. 3 runs home here in the top of the third. 5-1 deficit for Fort Lee. Curveball knocked into the cage, foul. So Dwight Morrow scoring in each of the first 3 innings here today. Once in the first, once in the second, and 3 here in the top of the third. A couple of errors proven to be rather costly for the Bridgemen. Merchan trying to chase after that one high. As Rosario able to produce another strikeout. Back-to-back strikeouts now for Rosario to gather his first 2 outs of the inning, and that'll bring up the 9th place hitter, Julian Suero, the shortstop. Suero had an RBI ground out to short his last time up in the second inning. 2 hits given up in the inning, an RBI double to Luis De Leon. He's got a pair of doubles, both to right field in this game, as well as a single by Alexander Polanco. Rosario trying to limit the damage, has the lead runner down at third. Bunt being given there. Rosario will field his position, throw over for the third and final out of the inning. So Suero trying to catch Rosario and Fort Lee by surprise, but Rosario was attentive and got to that ground ball and had the nice 1-3 put out. So that'll end the top of the third inning, but not before Dwight Morrow scores 3 runs on a couple of hits. They will now take a 5-1 lead here into the bottom of the third inning on YouTube. To the bottom of the third we go. 5-1 lead now for Dwight Morrow. First ball swinging and fouling that one down the first base side. As it's Marcus Lee in the top of the order for Fort Lee. Lee struck out looking in his first plate appearance of the season, back in the bottom of the first inning. Fort Lee scoring an unearned run in that first inning on what should have been a ground ball that got Dwight Morrow out of the inning, but a pair of throwing errors allowed Katayama to score the run that tied the score at that point at 1-1. Dwight Morrow has then scored 4 unanswered runs in this game. In this, their second game of the season. This is the season opener and the home opener for Fort Lee this afternoon. Lee, the center fielder, will be followed by Katayama and Rosa. Missing a low to the outside. They were looking down to the umpire at first to see whether or not Lee actually offered at it. De Leon back on the rubber for his third inning of work. Has produced 2 strikeouts, has allowed only 1 hit so far. Had a couple of ground ball outs secured in last inning. That one is sawed off, again foul down the first base line. Lee hitting from the right side. The only hit so far in this game was Ryan Irizarry's single back in the first inning for Fort Lee. The Bridgemen were retired in order in the last inning, 1-2-3 in the second. De Leon's pitch. That has popped up into the cage, as we've seen has been the case for several different hitters so far in today's game. Lee trying to keep this bat going. De Leon, the sophomore right-hander, has retired the last 4 hitters he's faced in order. That one, hot shot down the third base line. That'll stay fair. go all the way down the left field line. That's going to be extra bases for Marcus Lee. Lee with the first extra base hit of the season for the Bridgemen. And the leadoff hitter is on and down in scoring position to begin the bottom of the third inning. So Lee battled back throughout the course of that at-bat and then drilled one just fair down the third base line. And before Uceda could really get to that ball, Lee was already standing down at second base. That'll bring up Keizo Katayama. The catcher drew a walk in his first plate appearance back in the first. Curveball missing high. Now 1-0 against Katayama, who's again hitting from the right-hand side. Katayama the junior with an RBI opportunity here. That one is skipped into the dirt, into the backstop, and that's going to allow Marcus Lee to take the extra base and get down to third base with nobody out here in the home portion of the third inning. So a wild pitch thrown by De Leon. Marte could not get to it in time. Now Marcus Lee standing down at third. Infield starting to play in now for Dwight Morrow, trying to cut off a potential second run if there's any ground ball. That's going to fall in for a strike against Katayama. Lee has led off this bottom of the third inning with a double. He's now moved down to third base with a wild pitch. Katayama fouls that into the cage. Only the second hit, allowed here by Luis De Leon of Dwight Morrow this afternoon. He's allowed one run, that being unearned. Here's the pitch again, fouled back, now 2 strikes against Katayama. Fort Lee has lost 4 straight in this rivalry against Dwight Morrow. Down by 4 runs early on here, 5-1. De Leon delivers. Just getting a piece of that to stay alive is Katayama. With 2 strikes against Katayama. Ground ball right back to De Leon. The pitcher will field his position, but airmail that throw to first. That's going to be a throwing error. Taking the turnaround second. Katayama's going to leg it out all the way down to third. How about that hustle and speed by Katayama? Because it was such a hard-hit ball in the way that De Leon fielded it, Lee had frozen at third base. He was not going to come home to try to score. But the throwing error allows Lee to score and allows Katayama to sprint his way all the way down to third. Second run of the game now for Fort Lee. A throwing error by De Leon leading to another run here today for Fort Lee as Joseph Rosa, the third baseman, stepping in. Rosa is 0 for 1. He flew out to right field back in the first inning. Runner at third, nobody out here in the bottom of the third. 5-2 lead now for Dwight Morrow. Rosa fouling that one backwards. So errors looming rather large right now for the Maroon Raiders of Dwight Morrow. Another run here in the third. That one is dribbled. Is it going to possibly be trouble? It will be! Not able to be fielded cleanly by Suero, the shortstop, even if he got to it in time, with Rosa busting it out of the gate, getting it down to the first base side. He was going to be safe regardless. That will allow the third run of the game to score, as Katayama will leg that one out, and quickly 2 runs put right back on the board for Fort Lee after Dwight Morrow had produced 3 runs in the top of this third inning. So Rosa with the infield single. That's an RBI as well. That'll drive in the third run of the day for Fort Lee. It remains nobody out here in the bottom of the third inning. Now a runner at first. So Lee led off the inning, ripping a double down the third baseline. Katayama would then reach safely via the throwing error, advance 2 extra bases all the way down to third, and then scores on the infield single by Rosa. That'll bring up Franco Rosario. Give an error in the first inning. Rosario driving that one deep to right field. Way back. Gone. Goodbye. A 2-run home run for Franco Rosario. And we are now tied at 5-5 as the Bridgemen have exploded here for 4 runs in the bottom of the third inning. First home run of the season for Rosario, and that was a no-doubter. Right off the bat, you heard how hard it was. It was just going to be a case of would it go over the fencing or bounce just in front of it. The appeal down to first to see whether or not Rosario possibly missed the first base bag. They rule that he did not, so it is, in fact, a game-tying 2-run homer. So after Dwight Morrow put up 3 runs at the top of the third, Fort Lee wasting little time to respond with 4 runs here in the bottom of the third and still nobody out. Marcus Lee with a double. Katayama reached on the error. Rosa with a RBI single, and now Franco Rosario with a 2-run blast to deep right center field. 5-5 ball game. Swing and a miss by Ryan Irizarry. Irizarry is 1 for 1 today. He had a single, the first hit of the season for Fort Lee, back in the first inning. Irizarry can't catch up to that one, and he will be retired for the first out of the inning. So a strikeout for De Leon, his third. One away with nobody on. Here in the bottom of the third inning, that'll bring up Ray Nakajima, the right fielder. Ray Nakajima popped up to second in his first plate appearance, 0 for 1. Foul tipped into the catcher's mitt, 0-1. De Leon retired Fort Lee in order in that second inning. Had retired the first or the last 4 hitters in a row in this game heading into the top of this inning, but the top of the order got to him. Fort Lee's leadoff hitter, Marcus Lee, after a long, prolonged at bat after fouling off and wasting a number of pitches, eventually roped one fair, just fair, down the third base line. Katayama should have been the first out of the inning on the ground ball right back to the pitcher, but he nonchalantly threw it to first, and Katayama with that blazing speed after that ball trickled away to the far side fencing. Katayama did not settle for just second. He made his way all the way to third. That would allow him to then score in the infield single by Rosa. And then Rosario with a thundering 2-run blast. Nakajima now trying to continue the onslaught here, as De Leon missing to the outside, to the delight of the raucous Fort Lee bench. Only one out so far in this inning. De Leon taking his time, sets and fires. Missing high. So Nakajima now trying to work out potentially a walk opportunity here. Four runs on 3 hits in the inning. There's a swing and a miss. That's going to be the stop. Slowly making his way to home plate for his second plate appearance. Herrera grounded out to third. Back in the second inning, he's 0 for 1. Herrera will pop this one up. Ranging over is the center fielder with the wind blowing it a little bit, but King stayed with it for the eventual put out. So that will do it for a long third inning. We saw a combined 7 runs in that third inning alone. Dwight Morrow scored 3 in the top of the inning. Fort Lee responds with 4, 2 of which courtesy of a 2-run blast, the first home run of the season for the Bridgemen, courtesy of Franco Rosario. And we are once again deadlocked, this time at 5-5 as we head to the top of the 4th inning, as you're watching all the exciting Big North American Division showcase here on YouTube. So once again, a brand new ball game here as we head to the top of the 4th inning. 5-5 the score between Fort Lee and Dwight Morrow. This the season and home opener for the Bridgemen. Second game of the year for Dwight Morrow. First divisional game for both teams. Dwight Morrow has led 1-0, 2-1, and even 5-1 in this game. Fort Lee tied it up at 1-1 after 1, and now putting up a 4 spot in the bottom of the 3rd has tied this game with 4 unanswered runs. Rosario helping out his own cause. Both pitchers here today have delivered at the plate as well. Christian Ramos, the leadoff hitter, as the strike is dropped in there by number 23, Rosario. Ramos is 0 for 2, struck out and also popped up to left. He'll pop this one up. This is going to be trouble. Twisting and turning and saving the day is Herrera, the shortstop. Rosa was twisted and turned every which way, the third baseman. He was not going to be able to make a play on it, but staying there the whole way was Herrera. His counterpart to the left side of that diamond, and it's going to be a pop-up to short. And there's one away to begin the top of the 4th inning. So Ramos is now hitless here today, 0 for 3. That'll bring up Ryan Uceda. Uceta grounded out to third back in the first inning. Reached on an error by Herrera, the shortstop, his last time up. Uceta, number 1, the freshman. That misses low and to the outside. Grounded down to third. Handled by Rosa. Throws over. Irizarry with a low pick. And that's going to be the second out of the inning. Now 2 away with nobody on here in the top of the 4th inning. 5-3 ground down. Five runs on 6 hits in this game for Dwight Morrow. Rosario has struck out 3. As that is ricocheted into the back cage. Again, this time by Christopher Marte. Marte is 1 for 1. Had a double back in the first inning. Drew a walk, almost an intentional walk, in the third. Oh, 1 grounded foul just to the side of the third baseline. Marte behind the count now 0-2. Rosario with a chance to retire the order. 1-2-3 here with one more strike. The 0-2. Just missing on the outside corner. Rosario wanted that one. He's upset. Takes off the hat. Will try to recollect himself a bit as he had frozen Marte. New life for Marte with a 1-2 count. Rosario's curve, a slow one at that, missing to the outside, levels the count at now 2-2. Had a tough third inning. A couple of errors by his infield didn't help him. 3 runs in the last inning for Dwight Morrow. They've scored in every inning so far today. Taken low, and now the count has run full at 3-2. So Marte has fought back after falling behind initially 0-2 in the count. Tie ball game, 5-5 the score. Nobody on base, 2 outs, 3-2 count, top of the 4th. And a chilly and windy afternoon in early April. Rosario gets the sign from Katayama in all 3 plate appearances so far in this game. Rosario has only surrendered 2 walks in this game, both to number 12 in maroon. And that'll bring up both of the doubles have come deep to right field. That's going to be a sawed-off ground ball. Man left on base, that courtesy of the 2-out walk. But Rosario posts a 0 for the first time here. First lead of the game. They have trailed on 3 occasions in this one to fight back each and every time. Bottom of the order to lead things off. 5-5 the score. Perez, Luis Nakajima, and then Marcus Lee due up here. As the Bridgemen trying to snap a 4-game losing streak in this series against the Maroon Raiders. 4 hits. 3 of the runs earned. He has also struck out 4. Emmanuel Perez, 0 for 1 this afternoon, grounded out to second. His bat twice as he hit that into the top part of the cage. Second time he has caught a Fort Lee batter looking, and the leadoff Bridgman hitters reach safely. A double, an error, a single, and then a home run. Lineup struck out swinging back in the second inning. He's 0 for 1. De Leon ahead of the count now, 0-1. Winds and delivers. Put on the board, he's got 6 strikeouts now in the game. And quickly, there's 2 away to begin the bottom of the 4th inning. And back to the top of the order we go with Marcus Fort Lee's offense humming in the bottom of the 3rd inning. He led off that frame with the double. That led to the big inning count. Marcus Lee also led off the game with a called 3rd strike. He said had been fighting uphill all game long after Rosario put up the goose egg in the top of this 4th, striking out the side. Down to 3rd base, handled on a hop by Ramos. Over in time, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Fort Lee. To the top of the 5th inning we go. First ball swinging, knocked down. Nice play there by Rosa, getting in front of the ground ball. 1 pitch, 1 out. On the ground ball, out by Garcia. Rosa taking the charge there of that ground ball, not even able to leg that one out. Instead, it's 1 pitch, 1 away here at the top of the 5th inning of the 5-3 putout. That brings up Luxander Polanco. Polanco is 2 for 2 with an RBI single, the designated hitter. So Rosario now has settled down quite nicely after having that big 3rd inning where he allowed the 3 runs. Almost retired Dwight Morrow in order the last inning, if not for the 3-2 pitch that led to a walk against Marte. There's a strike fired in against Polanco. So Polanco and Daly, curveball just off the plate for a ball there. Polanco singled in the 2nd inning on a infield single, and then lined one to center field for an RBI single his last time up in the 3rd. On 5-5 game here in the top of the 5th inning. Again, fans, this game starting a little later than the 4:15 scheduled start time with a late arrival for Dwight Morrow. That's going to be another single up the middle by Polanco. He's a perfect 3 for 3 this afternoon. And now a 1-out base. As you can even hear from the field, Peter Kraljak saying to his pitcher, Franco Rosario, that was since Giuseppe Aldama, the 2nd baseman, who's 1 for 2 this afternoon. Had a single back in the 2nd, struck out swinging in the 3rd. Fields also picked up the win through 2 innings, allowed 1 hit, 1 run, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts in the 14-4 win. That one is popped up. Herrera, Aldama pops up to short. That'll bring up the 8th place hitter, Manuel Merchan. The right fielder had the sacrifice bunt back in the second, struck out looking. He'll step off the rubber. Polanco down at first base. He had the one-out single in this inning. Seven hits in the game now for Dwight Morrow, as that one is lofted to the outside for a ball. A runner on first here in the top of the fifth. That one is socked down the right field line, and that is hooking foul, as that will go out of the Sugarman Sports Complex. But a long fly ball foul down the right field line. Rosario has to learn from that. The curveball, strike three, as Merchant was waiting on fastball. Nice delivery there by Rosario, his first strikeout since he last struck out Manuel Merchant back in the third inning. He puts up another scoreless inning of work on the mound. We head to the bottom. Franco Rosario has gotten through 5 innings, allowing 5 runs for Fort Lee. Now we head to the bottom of the 5th inning as De Leon also tries to match him through 5 innings himself. The 6'2 sophomore was given a 5-1 lead to work with, but squandered that immediately in the third when he gave up 4 runs. Kanayama takes that one low to the out. Really costly error by the pitcher. After a soft ground ball right back to the pitcher, De Leon airmailed his way all the way down to third, just busting it as the ball was ricocheting and pinballing away in foul territory. Best to get on safely, diving towards first base. One away now with the 6-3 ground out. First time that Kanayama is retired here this afternoon. That'll bring up the third baseman, Joseph Rosa. Rosa, the third place hitter, 1 for 2 with an RBI single as last. As that'll be a strike against Rosa, 0-1. Fort Lee, 5 runs on 4 hits in this game. It's been sloppy at points with both teams committing several errors. De Leon has produced 6 strikeouts as well and has walked only 1. He has had very good command here this afternoon in his season debut as a pitcher. Strike in the inside corner. One out with nobody on here. Fort Lee batting in the bottom of the 5th inning. 5-5 the score. That one on a rope right into the glove of Suero, the shortstop. And quickly, there's 2 away here for the Bridgemen. So Suero fielded the 6-3 ground out against Katayama, and that time the line drive into his glove, retiring Rosa. He's got both of the putouts here in the bottom of the 5th. That'll bring up Franco Rosario. Rosario lining that one into center field. Another base hit. That'll skitter away from King and roll all the way to the fence. Rosario not wasting any time. He's going to be trying to leg it out to third. He slides in safely over the third base bag, puts his hand on the bag, and now is down to third. Rosario had a hard-hit single to center field. It took a bounce up and over the center fielder, King. And Rosario will leg out a triple there. So now Franco Rosario has reached base safely all 3 times here this afternoon. Reached on an error by the shortstop back in the first, had a 2-run homer in the third, now a triple. Go-ahead run standing down at third base for Ryan Irizarry. Missing to the outside was De Leon. Irizarry 1 for 2. He had a single back in the first, struck out swinging in the third. Late on that swing. 1-1. Nice start to the season at the plate for Rosario now hitting. Couple extra base hits. As Irizarry now with 2 strikes against him. Irizarry talking to his coach down the third base line. The senior trying to deliver an RBI here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning, which would give Fort Lee their first lead of the afternoon. With the sun now brightly shining and coming out here after it's been, quite frankly, a bit of a cloudy and overcast day. The sun on the infield here. De Leon trying to get out of this inning without allowing a run. That is a flare hit into right field. Base hit there. Irizarry delivers with a 2-out RBI. Going the opposite way, dropping that one into shallow right field. Ryan Irizarry with his second hit of the game, and for the first time this afternoon, Fort Lee has taken the lead at 6-5. All with 2 outs in the inning. There was 2 outs with nobody on. Rosario then had the triple to center field, and he is brought home by Ryan Irizarry's base hit to right field. Ray Nakajima swings through it. Nakajima 0 for 2. The right fielder popped up to second base in the first inning, struck out swinging in the third. Clutch hit by the senior first baseman for the Bridgemen. Nakajima takes that second strike inside. Now De Leon again 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning. Fort Lee scoring once in the first, 4 in the third, and now once here in the bottom of the 5th. That pitch taken low underneath the knees. Fort Lee finished 3rd in the Big North American Division a season ago, going 3-5. Cliffside Park won the league title. Inside, missing in tight for ball number 2. Fort Lee would later on lose to Madison 8-4 in the first round of the 2021 North 2 Group 2 sectional playoffs. Trying to start off 2002 with a come-from-behind victory. Batting here in the bottom of the 5th inning. That time almost hit by the pitch. The wild pitch does go to the backstop. That will allow Irizarry to head down into scoring position now at second base. Ray Nakajima trying to deliver just as Irizarry did. Fouls that one straight back. Marte will recover the baseball, throw it back to his pitcher. De Leon trying to limit the damage. He's given up the go-ahead run here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Fort Lee looking for more. Nakajima can deliver a hit. That might also be the afternoon for De Leon, you might think, as his pitch count is starting to rise as well. The sophomore right-hander delivers and gets out of the inning there with another strikeout. His 7th K of the afternoon. But Fort Lee with 2 outs and nobody on, they find their way to producing the go-ahead run. First on a triple to center field by Franco Rosario, and then driving him in on a bloop hit to right field. It's Ryan Irizarry. And for the first time today, Fort Lee will take a lead with them as we head to the top of the 6th. 6-5, Bridgman leads Dwight Morrow. Sugarman Sports Complex in Fort Lee. Dan Long alongside Dimitri Nanis and our hardworking camera crew, Maria Gianna Tassio, as well as Lola Nanis. Glad you could join us here on YouTube in a colder and windier day. Get underway in the top of the 6th inning with a pitch inside for a ball, 1-0. Julian Suero, the shortstop. 0 for 2 with an RBI so far this afternoon. I'll face a deficit, and that's going to be a bloop hit into left field for a base hit, and that got away from the left fielder. That's going to allow Dwight Morrow to start off this inning with an extra base. Down to second base goes the tying run as Suero starts off the inning with a double. Luis Nakajima kind of overran that a bit as that allowed it to take a nice bounce off of this artificial turf here at the Sugarman Sports Complex, and in doing so, it allowed it to roll a little bit beyond and behind the left fielder. So rather than settling for a single, Suero took the turn around first. He's now in at second base. Tying run in scoring position with nobody out here in the top of the 6th inning. 8th hit of the day now for Dwight Morrow. Back to the top of the order, now to Christian Ramos. Ramos lays off the breaking pitch, 1-0. Ramos is 0 for 3 this afternoon. Struck out in the first, popped up to left field in the second, popped up to shortstop his last time up in the 4th. Starting his 6th inning of work here in the season opener for Fort Lee. Has allowed 5 runs on 8 hits. Curveball missing inside. That double by Suero to lead off this top of the 6th inning, the 4th double of the afternoon for Dwight Morrow. That one misses to the outside. Rosario might be running a little bit out of gas right now. How much longer will Coach Kraljic go with him? stepping off the mound and trying to recollect himself. Runner down at second. Nobody out here. 1-run lead for Fort Lee, top of the 6th. And that misses inside, and that's going to be a 4-pitch walk surrendered to Christian Ramos. First time that he's reached base safely. He drew 4 walks in their season opener. And now the first 2 runners have reached base safely to begin the top of the 6th. Runners at first and second with nobody out. And Raylan Uceta, the left fielder, up. Third walk of the game given up now by the starting pitcher Rosario for Fort Lee. Uceta, a couple of ground outs to third, has also reached courtesy of a fielding error by the shortstop. Trying to lunge at it, trying to put down the bunts, but swung and miss. So 0-1 now the count against the left fielder for couple runners in scoring position. We'll see if Uceta will once again offer at it. He will. And again, that curveball kind of dropped harmlessly out of the strike zone, yet Uceta had chased after it. So now he's behind to the count 0-2. Left field is shaded right now. The sun peeking out still in center and right field. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. A huge strikeout secured there by Rosario, as he has had a very nice curveball that has gotten a couple of hitters of the afternoon for Rosario. Now here's the meat of the order for Dwight Morrow. Christopher Marte. Slow curve, falls in for a strike, 0-1. Marte had a double back in the first inning. He has been walked on his last 2 plate appearances in the 3rd and 4th innings. Has reached base safely in all 3 appearances today. Marte with a home run and 2 doubles, accounting for his 3 hits so far this season in officially 4 at-bats. That pitch missing low for a ball. Julian Suero, the 9th place hitter, led off the inning with a double. Christian Ramos was then walked. Raylan Uceta struck out swinging just moments ago. Rosario getting that strike in the outside. How aggressive will Marte get here? Will he have enough plate coverage? You know that another curveball is desperately going to be coming in a matter of moments. That one is skipped in the dirt, trying to advance down to third. The throw down to third. And they're going to say that the runner is safe. Didn't get away from the catcher, Katayama, all that much, but immediately jumping on the opportunity was Julian Suero. The runner also advancing to second behind him. That's as good as a sacrifice bunt without giving up the out. Now with 1 out, runners down at... That pitch missing high. Marte was making his way down to first base thinking that he had drawn the walk, but... Rosario pitching in some jam. That is a lazy curveball. Dwight Morrow has not scored since putting up 3 runs. The bases are now loaded with 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning. So Christopher Marte has earned 3 consecutive. Now he has to face his pitching counterpart, Luis De Leon. De Leon with a pair of RBI doubles to right field in this game. That's a breaking pitch that misses behind, forces De Leon to duck for cover. It's now 1-0 the count. Does Rosario have anything left out at home? And they get the out just barely. Rosario making life. He pulled Katayama off, but Katayama still maintained a foot on home plate for the. That almost proved to be disastrous. So now that brings up Saul Garcia. And will that be the afternoon? As it looks like that is the case. So Rosario's day on the mound is done. Situation with 2 outs and a 6-5 lead. We'll come back in a couple of moments here on YouTube. So the new pitcher into the game is going to be Joseph Rosa. Rosa, who was the third baseman for the start of this game, now called in out of the pen. 10, Brandon Brito. And Rosario, Franco Rosario, will now head out to right field as Ray Nakajima has left the game. Garcia Jr. was 2 for 4 in their season opener. 0 for 2, also reached on an error back short in the first inning. Grounded out to third his last time up in the 5th. Bases loaded, tying run down at third. There's a strike in the inside with nobody out. Then the bases loaded with 1 out. There's a strike at the knees. Dwight Morrow did not like that call. They thought it was a 2. That one is sawed off. It's going to be a tough play. Is it going to be an infield single? It will be. And then thrown away as well. That's going to score the go-ahead run. 2-run score on the ground ball. It was going to be a tough play to begin with. But then another error proving to be so costly. That's a tough. Dwight Morrow has taken back the lead with a 2-out and 2-strike pitch. Alexander Polanco now. 3 for 3 in the game. A pair of singles to center field in his last 2 plate appearances. Runners at the corner in this game. So Garcia delivered, just got a piece of it. It was a slow roller. It was going to be a tough play to make that allowed the go-ahead run to score. Throw over to first was not in time. Rosa fires the fastball in for a strike. So Dwight Morrow has led in this game 1-0, 2-1, 5-1, and now Polanco with a single in the second, an RBI single in the third, and a single in the 5th. He's back up. Polanco the junior stepping in. Grounding that one to Herrera. Herrera will take it himself to the second base bag, and that will end the top of the 6th inning, but not the bottom of the 6th inning here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. You're watching FD You're watching Fort Lee's baseball opener here on YouTube. So now a pitching change has been made for Dwight Morrow as they will bring in Giuseppe Aldama, who went 2 innings for the win with 3 strikeouts on April 1st. Aldama will move from second base. Taking his spot will be the starting pitcher, De Leon. So Luis De Leon now playing at second. Aldama is doing the pitching. So the junior called in once again to try to find a way to pitch the Maroon Raiders to their second win in as many games to begin this brand new 2022 spring season. Fort Lee will once again be asked to rally from a deficit in this game. How many times can they claw their way out of a deficit? They put up the 4 spot in the 3rd inning. That brought them even after trailing by as many as 4 runs at 5-1. They took their first lead of the game after the 5th inning at 6-5 and now trail 7-6 after the 2 runs with 2 outs and 2 strikes produced by Dwight Morrow. As the 7, 8, and 9 hitters do up here to begin the bottom of the 6th inning for the Bridgemen. Again, these two sides will renew acquaintances in the next game coming on Wednesday in Englewood. Home and home series will be the story this season for a lot of Fort Lee games. We'll see that later on in the season as well, be the case in early May with Cliffside Park. First pitch is a strike from Aldama going against Felix Herrera. Herrera 0 for 2 this afternoon for the Fort Lee shortstop. Grounded out to third, also flew out to center field. Morrow will foul that one into the top of the cage, and now Aldama is ahead of the count 0-2. Oh-2, not fishing for that one outside the strike zone, 1-2. So the next 2 games for Fort Lee will be road contests at Dwight Morrow and then following up on Saturday afternoon at North Arlington before coming back home a week from today to host Westwood. That pitch taken high and outside the strike zone, now 2-2 the count. We'll be broadcasting that home game against Westwood next week here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel, where you could watch all of the games live and also for free on demand. We thank everybody for tuning in, no matter who you might be cheering for. We appreciate your support and the support of these student athletes from both fine schools. As the sun has now vacated the premises here at the Sugarman Sports Complex, As that's going to be strike three looking inside. Herrera was frozen at the plate as the lights have been turned on here. There's one away with nobody on in the bottom of the sixth. First strikeout for Aldama since coming into the game. That'll bring up Emmanuel Perez. Perez 0 for 2 with a ground out to second. Struck out looking his last time up in the fourth. Perez will send that one to left field. And will hang up just enough to allow Uceta to range over to make the putout. And quickly, there's two away here to begin the bottom of the sixth inning. The 7, 8, and 9 hitters in this game for Fort Lee, now a collective 0 for 8. Luis Nakajima trying to prevent it from being 0 for 9. He's got a pair of strikeouts. He's 0 for 2 this afternoon. That one going a little wide of the mark. 1-0 the count against Luis Nakajima. If Nakajima can continue this inning, it would move it to the top of the Fort Lee order with Marcus Lee. Lee is 1 for 3 with a double. Deficit is 1 for the Bridgemen. Taken high, now 2-0. That one missing wide as well. Now 3-0 the count. Nakajima, if he gets on, would give Fort Lee the chance to have the tying run on base, batting here in the bottom of the sixth inning. As the Fort Lee dugout now starting to get raucous. Aldama has missed in his first three, well outside the strike zone. And he misses 4 straight. That's going to be a 2-out walk surrendered to Nakajima, the first time that he has reached base safely. As Fort Lee looks to rally here, down a run in the bottom of the sixth. Only the second walk of the game for Dwight Morrow pitching. First walk for Aldama since coming to the game. He gets a strike against Marcus Lee. Lee struck out looking in the first, had a double down the right field line in the third, grounded out to third his last time up in the fourth. 1 for 3. Missing there. Nakajima, can he get a good lead here to possibly score on an extra base hit, if there is one by Lee? Being kept close to the first base bag. That ball is low in the dirt. That's going to allow Nakajima to head down to second. Now he can score potentially on a base hit. Looks like he was off and running still, and then with that ball in the dirt, Marte had no chance from behind the plate to think about throwing out Nakajima. So Luis Nakajima advances down to second base. That last pitch was ruled a ball against Marcus Lee. Lee trying to deliver a clutch 2-out hit here, just as we saw in the top of the inning for Dwight Morrow. Dwight Morrow, the only team in the division who has played a game so far this season. Lee will send that one skyward to left field, but into the waiting glove of Uceta. And that will end the scoring threat for the Bridgemen. In the bottom of the sixth inning, we head to the top of the seventh. Dwight Morrow still in control by a 7-6 lead here on YouTube. So now we head to the top of the 7th inning. 7-6 lead for Dwight Morrow. Dwight Morrow scoring once in the first, once in the second, 3 in the third, and then 2 runs in the last inning in the top of the 6th inning. Aldama, the pitcher now, at the plate. Second inning of work for Rosa on the mound for the Bridgeman. Giuseppe Aldama, 1 for 3 this afternoon for Dwight Morrow. That pitch missing high. Aldama with a single in the second, struck out swinging in the third, and popped up to short in the 5th. There's a strike, fired by Rosa. The 7, 8, and 9 hitters due up as the first 3 hitters for Dwight Morrow. There's a strike on the outside corner. That's going to be strike 3 looking. So after Rosa got out in front 0-1, he battles back to secure the last 2 pitches of that at-bat against Aldama, who was not a happy camper as he was talking coming off the field. He might have been saying, give me that call on that outside corner when he heads back to the mound to begin the 7th. Sixth strikeout of the day for Fort Lee pitching. That'll bring up Manuel Merchan. Merchan with 2 of those 6 strikeouts. He has struck out his last 2 times up. Also dropped down a sacrifice bunt back in the 2nd inning. We play on here with the lights being turned on and just moments and minutes away from reaching 7 p.m. Curveball missing high. This game again started about 20 minutes late due to the late arrival to the field by the team bus of Dwight Morrow. Supposed to be a 4:15 start time. Ground ball down to Herrera at short. Over to first in time for the putout. So Merchan is retired, and now there's 2 away with nobody on in the top of the 7th. Dwight Morrow still in search of some insurance runs. Julian Suero, who led off that top of the 6th inning with a double, came around the score, the tying run. As that's dropped there by Katayama, it's a ball, 1-0. That is hit into the cage. 1-1 the count. The key at bat in this game was with 2 outs, bases loaded, a 2-2 pitch, and Saul Garcia grounded it weakly to short. Probably would have legged out an infield single, as that was just too softly hit to really give a chance for Herrera to throw over in time for the out. Instead, it wasn't in time, and then the throw was airmailed to first. That allowed an additional go-ahead run to score. Just low beneath the knees. Missed there on a ball by Rosa. Trying to keep this a 1-run deficit for his team if he can secure this final out of the inning. There's another ground ball to Herrera. 2 bouncer in front of him. He bobbles it, and that's going to be another error. It's been a tough day at the office for Herrera at short. 2-out base runner now for Dwight Morrow, reaching courtesy of the E6. So Suero is on. That brings us to the top of the order for the Maroon Raiders. And Christian Ramos. Ramos, the third baseman. 0 for 3 with a walk. Takes that one off the plate, 1-0. Ramos struck out swinging in the first. Popped up to left field in the second and popped up to short in the fourth. Missing again to the outside, now 2-0. Rosa retired the first 2 he faced in this inning and should have got it out of the inning with the ground ball to short. But again, it was bobbled. There's a strike to make it 2-1. That one is popped up. That is way back, pushing all the way back and making a play just in front of the wall by Rosario. Rosario making the play in deep right center field to rob Dwight Morrow of a chance at extra bases and maybe an insurance run at that. So it will remain a one-run lead for Dwight Morrow as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning we go here on YouTube. Now, Fort Lee looking to rally here as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. They will have the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in their lineup to try to at least produce a tying run that would send this to extra innings. They would love to be able to walk off in dramatic fashion here and rally another time here this afternoon for the win. They have trailed 4 times in this game. Do they have a little magic left in their season opener? Aldama missing to the outside for a ball. Taken for a ball, 1-0 against Keizo Katayama. Katayama reached on a walk in the first inning, reached on an error in the third, and grounded out to short his last time up. There's a strike to even the count at 1-1. Giuseppe Aldama trying to come in and secure the win. Missing to the outside, 2-1. Fort Lee needing at least one base runner to have the tying run reached safely. Two-one. Also missing to the outside, 3-1 the count now against Katayama. The junior catcher trying to work his way on. He's drawn 1 walk in this game already. That's grooved down the middle for a strike. Full count, 3-2. Rosa behind him has an RBI single in this game. And then the dangerous Franco Rosario waiting as the third potential hitter of the inning. Katayama staying alive, jettisoning that one foul into the cage. Katayama also blessed with blazing speed. If he could get on, he could move around the base paths rather quickly. Fort Lee dugout getting loud. Again a 3-2. Katayama out to second base on one bounce. There's the run down the line. He legged out the single. Just as I said, Katayama with great speed, especially for a catcher. That time, taking a little too much time was De Leon. He had to get that one over a little quicker, had to handle it on a couple hops. And Katayama legs out the infield single to begin the bottom of the 7th rally. 7th hit of the day now for Fort Lee. That brings up Joseph Rosa. Will Fort Lee get aggressive and try to send Katayama potentially for a stolen base opportunity? That bounces to the backstop. No need, as that's going to allow him to get into scoring position on the wild pitch. Unbelievable turn of events here. Katayama with his hustle, that has been on full display throughout this game, especially back a couple of innings ago in the third when a throwing error found him instead of out at first all the way down to third. Rosa, ground ball, hit to short, booted by the shortstop. That's going to allow Katayama to head down to third. Runners at the corners with nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Katayama did the smart thing. He froze with the ball hit right in front of him as he had tried to advance down to third, and that was fielded cleanly by Suero. He might have been gunned down at third. Instead, he froze at second, and it lipped under the glove of the shortstop. That's another error against Suero. And now Rosa, the potential winning run, is down at first, and that brings up Franco Rosario. So the Bridgemen getting exactly what they were hoping for here. Their best hitter, who has a home run and a triple. He'll be digging in with a potential tying run down at third base with nobody out. Go-ahead winning run standing down at first. Rosario reached on an error in the first, crushed a 2-run homer to right center field in the third, and legged out a triple in the fifth. That pitch low and inside, 1-0. 3 times already today, Fort Lee has rallied when trailing. Can they do it for a 4th time in this contest? The 1-0 taken high, it's now 2-0. Rosario, the junior, started this game on the mound, made the last play in right field to prevent an insurance run. Two and one the count. Floated high, 3-1. If Rosario gets on base, that would move the potential winning run down to second. With the bases loaded and nobody out, and would bring up Ryan Irizarry, who's got 2 hits on the day. 3-1 pitch. What do you throw here? Here we go. There's a strike inside corner. Gutsy pitch. Pinpoint accuracy there for Giuseppe Aldama. Even a simple sac fly would tie this game up. 3-2 count. Nobody out. Runners at the corners. That one is grounded back to the pitcher, and they're going to say no, foul ball. Foul ball off the leg. It looked like, even from our vantage point, well behind the center field fence, that was fouled off the leg of Rosario. That would have easily scored Katayama from third with a tying run. So again, we do the 3-2 pitch. And flaring out there in what could have been and should have been ball 4, Rosario is retired with an enormous strikeout performed and produced by Aldama. Second strikeout for Aldama since coming into the game. Now there's one away with runners still at the corners here in the bottom of the 7th inning. But now they know if they can induce Irizarry into a ground ball, a double play would end this game for Dwight Morrow. Ryan Irizarry, 2 for 3. Had a single back in the first, struck out in the third, delivered an RBI single in the 5th inning. That gave Fort Lee their only lead of the game at 6-5. Irizarry missing late on that one, 0-1. So Katayama with an infield single. Rosa reached on a fielding error. Rosario just struck out swinging on a 3-2 pitch. Irizarry again. Late on that swing, he's behind quickly, 0-2. Again, a sac fly would tie this game up. Fort Lee had runners at first and third with nobody out. Now first and third with one out. The 0-2 missing to the outside. That's going to be an opportunity on the wild pitch now to send the go-ahead run down to second base. Not far enough away from the backstop that allowed Katayama to think about scoring the tying run from third. But a big event there. Now a single could win the game for Irizarry and Fort Lee. 1-2 the count. Infield or outfield being drawn in. 1-2. Strike three looking on the outside corner. Back-to-back strikeouts now from Aldama. And Dwight Morrow has one out more to procure to pick up this win on the road. As Fort Lee now having an opportunity down to their final out. Brandon Brito, who came into this game as the new third baseman stepping in, the junior. He's batting fifth in the lineup now as Ray Nakajima left this game 0 for 3 in the same spot of the lineup. Can he be the hero here and rally Fort Lee with two outs? Brito setting that one to right field deep. That'll fall for the base hit. It's going to be a walk-off double for Brito, who'll slide into second base. And Fort Lee has rallied all the way back to win the ball game. What a dramatic finish of this game. Brandon Brito is your hero. There was a delayed response by the dugout of Fort Lee. They were celebrating almost like it was only enough to tie the game. Instead, the opposite field double plates home too. And in walk-off fashion, Fort Lee is victorious by a final score of 8-7 here in their season opener at home. So when it looked like early on that it was easy going to lead to the at least tying run to be scored, you had runners at first and third with nobody out and the best hitter up. And then Aldama raced back to retire Rosario and Irizarry on back-to-back strikeouts, only to find Brandon Brito to be the man to break his heart with a two-run double to right field that fell in front of Merchan. And that drove in the final two runs of the game. Again, your final score, Fort Lee 8, Dwight Morrow 7 in an instant classic here to start off the 2022 season. That is the first win for Fort Lee against Dwight Morrow since last winning here in 2018, snapping a 4-game losing streak. With the loss, Dwight Morrow will fall to 1-1 on the season. With the win, Fort Lee improves to 1-0, picking up their first win in dramatic fashion, rallying for the fourth time in this game from a deficit. These two teams will renew acquaintances in a couple of days in Englewood, and our next broadcast will come a week from today as Fort Lee will be hosting the Westwood Cardinals on Monday, April 11th, game time slated for a 4:15 start time. So what a way to get our spring baseball coverage underway here at Fort Lee. Again, The Bridgemen victorious in dramatic fashion, a walk-off double by Brandon Brito. He proves to be the hero today in the 8-7 win. So special thanks to our producer, Dimitri Nanis, our camera operators, Maria Giannatasio and Lola Nanis, and I'm Dan Long saying so long from the Sugarman Sports Complex, and thanks for watching Fort Lee Baseball here on YouTube. Take care, everybody.